Hello everyone and welcome to a new weekly outlook. Hope you guys crushed it last week and could benefit from the weekly outlook because it went really well. Last week we were talking about this BPR right here, which we can expect a retracement from and then start pushing down, which is exactly what we got. We're talking about either taking out these highs right here and maybe even potentially this one right here if we displace to the upside, or we just continued going down and the lower time frame would show us that. And that's exactly what we did. So we had these beautiful candle closures right here, we pushed to the downside, and we took out our target right here on the sell side liquidity. So that's great because the drawn liquidity here was hit, and a lot of people would probably take buys from a sweep, for example, right here, because we have this buildup of liquidity, right? But we knew that this was a reaction from the daily BPR, and we understood that the higher time frame narrative was still to the downside. So then on Friday, we pushed up. We had NFP, and we reacted from this inverted 4-hour fair value gap right here, and then we started to push down again. So my drawn liquidity for next week will actually be quite the same as the last one. In terms of the other targets that we had sell side right here with relative equal lows. So this will be my drawn liquidity, and that's what I will be targeting. After this, we will have to see how price reacts from it. So let's say that we have something like this, make a high, then we go down. Do we sweep this and do we reverse, or are we just doing something like this, push down, take out a certain high right here, and then continue going down? And then we will need to see on the weekly, what do we have here, weekly fair value gap, and we will potentially go to a 50% of this fair value gap right here. So that's what I will be looking for on EU. It's playing out very nicely so far, and personally I also am in favor of this scenario right here. So take out the lows right here to the 50% of this weekly fair value gap or something around it, and then start pushing up. Why am I in favor of it? Because we have a bunch of liquidity resting here, also these highs right here. So that can potentially be a market maker buy model where this is the sell side of the curve and we transition into the buy side of the curve. But we will need to see that, and lower time frame confirmations will give us that direction. So that's it for EU. If we look at gold, we did exactly what we were talking about last week. We had this sweep of liquidity and we had some reaction to the upside, but I already mentioned that it wasn't really a kind of reaction that I wanted to see if we want price to continue going up, and we will likely take out these lows right here. So that's what we did. We chopped around a bit and then went for the sell side liquidity right here. After that, we just kept pushing down, so that was a sign for me that we will likely go for that daily fair value gap right here, which is also in a discounted area, right? So this is a perfect point of interest to go for buys. Let's say we take out the high here, which is not necessary, but obviously don't get trapped by it and look at it as a break of structure or whatever, to then immediately start going for the highs right here. We'll probably, if we take this out, we will probably sweep it, react to the imbalance right here, and then start pushing down to at least take out this liquidity right here. But I expect us to go a little bit further down, tap into this daily fair value gap, and then potentially start reversing. So that's it, what I'm looking for gold. Not very complicated. Don't get trapped before taking out the sell side, or tap into the daily fair value gap right here to target these highs right here, because I expect us to go a little bit down more before really taking out the liquidity right here. So that's gold, and let's look at NQ, what NQ did. So NQ is actually doing exactly what we got planned, like I think 2 weeks ago. When we swept the low right here, we were talking about this range right here, that we took out the sell side, and then we will have this buy side here as a target, and we will need to see how we reacted from it. And price really showed us that it wants to continue going up. So we had this build up right here, similar kind of scenario as here, sweep it and then start pushing up to our drawn liquidity to the buy side right here. And now we're actually in a very interesting spot, because we do have this buy side liquidity which we will take out. I'm not expecting a full reversal right here without taking out this buy side liquidity, so this will be the drawn liquidity. And after that it will be interesting, because if we look at the weekly, we have this volume imbalance here, and we tapped into it, kind of reacted to it, but we still have this liquidity like I said here, so I'm expecting us to take that out. But after that we can expect a reversal, and this is also something that we talked about in the community when we were around here. So this is the high that we will look really coming from. Obviously we have this swing high, but this is the top of the move, so we expect us to take this out. If we displace through it and start seeing signs of that we want to continue going up, then obviously the all-time high will be our target. However, if we don't see such a thing and we see a sweep, then our higher time frame narrative changes to bearish again, and we'll target the lows. So if we sweep this one right here, then I will be looking for these lows to be taken out, which corresponds with the low right here, and we can expect new lows. And to be honest, we have a kind of similar setup or price action with Bitcoin, but it shows a little bit more bullishness, so let's dive into that one. So with Bitcoin we had this low that was being swept, and then we pushed to the upside. But like I said, it wasn't really a push to the upside like we really want to see the bullishness. So we had a lot of choppiness right here, a bunch of open liquidity, etc. And obviously from a structural point of view, this would already be your sign that we are reversing. But I was more interested in the reaction to this high right here, and that was because the low that we swept right here was created from this high, and this is the same with NQ. Obviously we had this swing high right here, but we started this move from this high. That's why I also said that we have a kind of similar setup of our price action like NQ. This high right here already swept liquidity, so this one should be protected, and this one didn't sweep any liquidity. Obviously on the lower time frame you can find maybe some point of liquidity, but it's not that important. We can see that this is just a reaction from this imbalance, but we didn't sweep anything or whatever. So that's why I had my eyes on this high right here. We took that out, and now we are kind of reacting from this area right here. And why did we continue going up? I think that on the 4 hour it was kind of low resistant liquidity pool, yeah, right here. So we had this right here, and as you can see we nicely swept that and now starting pushing to the downside. Obviously also not with real displacement, so it's still kind of choppy, and we have a bunch of liquidity resting here. So yeah, this can be indeed the first time that I can say with some kind of confirmation, right? Because we did break this structural point right here. Like, yes, buying spot might be a good option right here, or I would do that, but I'm still very cautious because we do still have a bunch of liquidity right here, and this can very well be a trap, and lots of people will get wrecked if this is indeed a trap. So what I will be looking for is this daily fair value gap right here, and if we look at the weekly, it's inside of this weekly imbalance. So this will be a very important point for me, that if we see on the lower time frame some kind of reversal signs, so let's say on the 1 hour or 15 minute or whatever, if we see something like this and then start pushing to the upside, then I'm quite confident in us making a new all-time high. If we just smash to the downside, smash to the imbalance and whatever, then this can very well be a trap and we head for newer lows. And then obviously this will be, the liquidity right here will be a target, but also the lows right here. So we will have to see how we react from this daily fair value gap right here, and that will dictate the higher time frame direction for us. On Ethereum, we can see that we had this weekly, let me go to the weekly time frame. So we swept the lows right here, and we had this weekly inverted fair value gap, which we smashed through, but this was kind of, obviously, this could be a case where we just kept plummeting down, and so I wanted to see a reaction, and it looks like we have a clean reaction from it to the upside, so that's quite bullish for now. We do have a monthly BPR to the upside and monthly imbalances, so same thing here. So if BTC just keeps plummeting down, we won't expect a new all-time high for Ethereum or a lot of price action to the upside, obviously. But if we do see some bullish signs on Bitcoin and we see those reversals, then this will be a first target for me, the monthly BPR right here, and that will be around 2.8k. But for now, this looks quite bullish, and if we will look at specific buy opportunities, I would look at these lows right here, relative equal lows, take that out, and then potentially look for reversals. So something like this. And then we can, as first target, go for this buy side liquidity right here. However, if we just push to the downside, because also here we have the same scenario as with BTC on that 4-hour small resistant or low resistant liquidity pool that we took out, and now we're just kind of shopping around that area. So it's not a very clear point of price action that we are at now, so we will have to wait for that. So that's it for Ethereum, and the last one that I want to cover is Solana. We actually nailed Solana. I don't think that I talked about Ethereum or Solana in the videos of the weekly outlooks, but we nailed the all-time high right here, and we didn't buy anything when others were saying buy the dip, blah blah, because we already had these targets in mind. So this was the first one, this was the second one, and then this was the last one. Obviously, I said that if we full displays through this one and we don't see reversal signs, then this would be a next one, but as you can see, we just kept pushing to the upside, so that's nice. However, that one is very much still in play if we get those reversals on Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously. And as you can see, we did take out this one right here, this liquidity point right here, and we are now kind of trading to the downside, also choppy obviously, but still we are trading to the downside. And to be honest, I don't really have a clear buy opportunity or whatever, because this chart doesn't look that clean as Bitcoin or Ethereum. So we'll have to see if Ethereum hits or Bitcoin hits his point of interest and we start seeing reversal signs, where Solana might be in that position or at that time. But I'm looking at this daily inverted fair value gap as a potential point of interest to buy some spot from. And so same thing here, if we see those reversal signs, then it could be quite safe to pick up some Solana or open some trades for there. And then the targets will be this high right here and this high, this high right here. Why not this one? Obviously almost the same level, but we left relative equal highs right here, so we'll be going for 180. And that's actually it for Solana. So it's not that, the chart isn't that clean as the other ones, but we still have something to work with, and obviously as this crypto, the one drags the other. So just some insight, right, on what you can expect, around what prices you can pay attention. So that's actually it for the weekly outlook this time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys also could benefit from the last one, and hopefully this week will also be a one that we nail price. Good luck, guys.